So a couple of weeks ago, a buddy of mine, Scott Rowe, gave me a question in one of the comments that asked, what do I think about women being pastors? Well, happy Friday. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Mission Zero. If this is your first time here, my name is Shawn, and this is FlashBack Friday, the show where we take stories from the past and apply them to the present to create a better future. The story that we're going to talk about today is the one place in the Bible that we are told that women can't be pastors, and that is in 1 Timothy chapter 2. So let's go to the big book. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 11 says, "Women should learn quietly and submissively. I do not let women teach men or have authority over them." Now the I in that sentence is the Apostle Paul, and he's talking to his understudy, Timothy. The entire letter of Timothy is a one-to-one letter. It's not from Paul to the rest of Christianity, it's from Paul to Timothy. Now that's important. So he says, I don't allow a woman to teach. The King James Version actually says, I suffer not a woman to teach. But why? Let's read a little further. So he says in verse 13, "For God made Adam first, and afterward he made Eve. And it was not Adam who was deceived by Satan. The woman was deceived, and sin was the result." Now, what he's talking about is way back at the beginning of the book in Genesis chapter 3. In Genesis chapter 3, everybody knows, I think, that the serpent comes and he tells Eve, you should eat that fruit. She says, I can't eat that fruit. Stuff happens, she eats the fruit. The piece that's important in that story, though, the piece that Paul completely glosses over, is this one. So this is going to be in Genesis 3. We're going to start in verse 6. Now I'm actually reading out of the New Living Translation, but it says, "The woman was convinced. She saw that the tree was beautiful and its fruit looked delicious, and she wanted the wisdom it would give her. So she took some of the fruit and ate it, then gave some to her husband who was with her." Now in the King James, it says, "She ate and her husband with her." With, really key word that changes the entirety of this story. See, the Hebrew word that's with there means with. Not he's standing over in the corner. It means he is there beside her this whole time. He didn't walk up while the serpent was talking here. He was with her. Why does that matter? Why do I say that's a key? It's because when Adam was given Eve, she came of his flesh. He was to be the head of that union. Now, he was the one who fell here. Eve was deceived by the serpent, no question. But it was Adam who was first at fault. It was Adam who saw the serpent approach and chose to say nothing. It was Adam who decided to throw his wife to the wolves and see, well, what'll happen if she eats this fruit? This was not Eve's transgression. It was Adam's transgression. And this is the whole problem with Paul's little story about why women can't be pastors. He's completely, 100% wrong because he's pulling from a story that he's completely misinterpreted. See, this 2,000 years of telling women they can't be in leadership roles, you can't have power over a man, it's nonsense. It's based on one guy who, by the way, is not Jesus. The Apostle Paul wrote the majority of the New Testament, and he is to be praised for that. He gave a lot of good information for the church, but he is not perfect. This story shows an error, shows a bias that he carried over from his Jewish roots. It's not that women can't be in positions of authority. Paul forbade women to be in positions of authority. But he used a corrupt justification for it. So my answer to you, Scott, is of course women can be pastors. Women were pastors all through the Bible. Women were priestesses. Women were prophets. There is no reason a woman can't be a pastor. Yes, even teaching men. Because the love of God and the inspiration of the Spirit that pushes teaching applies to everyone. God is no respecter of persons by gender or ranking. No matter how much we want to fight that, no matter how much we want to make that true, it doesn't make it more true. There we go. there's my answer for what it's worth, and I will await the hate to come flooding back at me to tell me I'm wrong, even though I'm actually not. And I hope that means something for you, particularly to the ladies out there. I hope that gives you some clarity and some freedom if there has been a dream in your heart to take that step. Don't ever feel bad about that. And may God pour down the blessings of understanding on all of us to rid ourselves of these stupid little biases that just hang on all of us and bring us all down. And I hope that you have a fantastic weekend, and I love you so, so much. See ya.